This is also true for the rest of the academic units. Second, the value of a UP Manila education is not only far above the cost borne by its students and graduates, but is also far more valuable than 1 year of similar education elsewhere in the Philippines. Third, UPM graduates, because of superior education and training, enter the market with capabilities significantly greater than their peers from other schools, with far greater knowledge than their clientele, and with certainly much more expertise than those who pay the cost of healthcare. The choices these UPM graduates make on what they will eventually be are made with complete freedom, unimpeded by UP Manila. The world outside UP Manila places a high value on its graduates, and consequently, their rewards are quite considerable. After graduation and a few more years of graduate or undergraduate work, their market value shoots up and eventually enables them to enjoy a lifestyle well above those of the majority of Filipinos who incidentally funded their education as a scholar ng bayan. Therefore, indebtedness to the nation must be the moral mooring that anchors UP's policy on tertiary education. Therefore, UP graduates may no longer be completely free to make choices on what they will be. Therefore, UP may impede their choices on moral grounds. UP Manila has to take responsibility for what its graduates do and did not do to advance the health of the people. The guides of UP Manila graduates and students should never be the marketplace, because they obtain their education despite the market. They acquired capabilities beyond what the market can buy, and they come into the market with far greater power over the world than others. For such people to say that they follow the market will be a betrayal of the ethical obligations that in fact sustained and guided them through the fundamentally anti-market process of a UPM education. Reforms needed to give substance to UPM's vision of relevance and service. Dr. Romualdez has presented, only over a week ago, the disgraceful health inequities between the rich minority and the poor majority of Filipinos. This disparity is very starkly illustrated in this slide, where professional health care is inaccessible to many Filipinos, while available services go to those who are better off economically, which disparity accounts for the difference in death rates. I share his conclusion that access and equity are the core issues in health, because I participated in the group of Dr. Romualdez who labored for 9 months examining the state of the nation's health. What he presented was therefore the consensus of the group. Why then must UP Manila, an institution of higher learning, concern itself with the issues of access and equity in health? Is that not the responsibility of other institutions? For example, the Department of Health. Let me make a few pertinent observations relevant to the question I raised. The Filipino people, through its government, endows UP Manila with a recurrent and continuing monetary support. In the year 2007, this amounts to 2,145,955,000, on top of what UP Manila raises from other sources which government does not touch. This financial support can only be ethically justified if the same people are given by the university some form of payback. UPM is a national asset with tremendous resources. The nation and the state which help build these resources have a right to utilize them for the common good. UPM is bound by the Constitution of its republic, and more so by the 2008 Charter, to place itself to the task of securing for the people the benefits of scientific progress in health. Finally, UPM, by declaring its philosophy voluntarily, no coercion, commits itself to serve the health needs of the nation. Dr. Romualdez suggests reforms in 5 health sectors which, if carried successfully, offer the highest probability of reducing, if not totally eliminating, the disparity in access and equitable distribution of healthcare services. The 5 sectors are basic health services, tertiary healthcare, pharmaceutical, healthcare financing, and human resources for health. I suggest that UP Manila adopts these same sectors, targeted for reforms, to be also the 5 focal points of its mission. These will then be composed of different domains, such as faculty, student, undergraduate program, etc., which will then transect the 5 areas discussed by Dr. Romualdez. As a result of this transaction, niches are created, which represent UPM's specific response and contribution to the reform efforts. By pairing the resources available to UPM with the health sectors, niches are created which represent UPM's specific response and contribution to the reform efforts. I visualize UPM's precise role in the health sectors, in the health sector reforms, as a multi-masted sailboat. The captain who guides the boat to its destination is the political leadership, notably the Department of Health. UPM is or should be the biggest sail, which provides the power to move the boat. The boat's power, in turn, derives from the university's resources listed in the grid. The power sources from UPM are superior to alternative sources because they possess qualities that only academic rigor can bestow. To UPM resources, the faculty and students have overarching role in UPM's effort to contribute to reforms in the health sectors. How to get them engaged is UPM's most pressing challenge in the opening period of the next 100 years. Is the faculty as presently constituted and moralized ready for the task? David Andretz of the Max Planck Institute in Germany observes that professors do not care much about what is going on outside the campus gate. He says there is a wall between the university and society. How true? Are we included in this category? Let us see by examining how we recruit faculty members. Most academic units premise their faculty size and composition solely on the need for teachers and trainers in the various academic programs. Given the current student enrollment and prospect for growth, such estimates will naturally confine the faculty's potential to teaching and training with little else for other function. Recruitment is initiated at the sub-departmental level, usually a section. Consequently, the perceived need comes from a very dedicated interest, that of the section. The situation is repeated at the college level, such that mega colleges exist side by side with mini colleges. Again, not because that is what the external environment requires, but because there is no binding basis for necessary growth as against beneficial attrition in the faculty rank. The size, composition, and recruitment policy should be set at the university level with the university's mission and task ahead in mind. The strategies to be employed for faculty recruitment, development, and retention will have to break new grounds, since these are weighty matters when considered side by side with excellence and leadership which has to be maintained, the University Council must take lead role in this effort. As we embark on this task, let us not be timid nor shy. Let us adopt models developed by others if that suits our purpose. Let us examine sacrosanct concepts like departments and tenure and discard them if that is what is warranted. However, before leaving the subject, I will suggest that on top of academic qualifications, we include qualities desirable to the institution as an important requirement of faculty selection, that in faculty development, nurturing, and retention, major emphasis be given to social responsibility and commitment. Selection process for desirable students admitted to UPM. Dr. Florentino Herrera, the first chancellor of UP Manila, told us this story. Dr. Romualdez will remember this. He said that in World War II, there was an Air Force Academy in America distinguished for producing the most number of ace pilots. So the superintendents of the other academies approached him and asked him, how do you select your would-be pilots so that we can adopt also your selection process? Well, in reply, he said, whenever there is an applicant, I would look at my dog, which is always beside me. If my dog wags its tail, then I admit the applicant. If not, I reject him. Surely, we in UP Manila can develop an admission process that is more discriminating than the simple wag of a dog's tail. I was shocked when I found out that some colleges automatically admit students on the list finally prepared by the registrar without any input by the faculty or the dean. I do not mean to disrespect the registrar. That is not his business. Selecting the appropriate student is an indispensable requisite to the success of UPM's vision. I doubt very much if the present admission policy increases the chance of success or in fact mitigate against it. The current method guarantees that those admitted represent the academic elite. While there may be nothing wrong with this per se, there is hardly any logic to limit admission to the highest few who may be separated from others by small point gradation. That means very little over the long run. I would rather admit a student who is a few hundred points below the cutoff but possesses qualities that I prefer. There is in fact a global movement in leading universities in the world to change their ultra-selective admission policies based on grades to more progressive policies. In a special report by Stephen Tail, he says that achievement differentials, that is, value added to human capital by attending college, are actually higher at good quality schools with less selective admissions than they are at Ivy League universities. The question may be asked, who are the students to be given the highly competitive access to UPM's assets? As you can see, we admit only a small fraction of the total number of students enrolled annually. For example, in nursing, we have less than 400 students out of a total of more than